Now let's look at what happens when you have two people running in opposite directions. So let's take an example where two people are starting from the starting point and they have speed ratios of 4:1. Again, I'm not giving you the actual speeds. At this point we're only interested in the positions of the meeting points and the order in which they happen, not the time, not the actual distances or anything. If two people A and B is faster running clockwise at 4 times the speed of B who is running counterclockwise. Let's see what happens. So what happens is basically that B will run a little bit and A will run 4 times of the distance and they will meet. That's the first meeting. But notice that this happens when the combined distance is one round as opposed to the difference of the distance. The distance of A plus distance of B as opposed to minus. This is basically, relative speed is equal to SA plus SB opposite. And the earlier example that we saw was SA minus SB because it's the same direction. That is the reason why this is happening like this. Now I'm going to remove all of this. Give me a sec. So this is the condition. B is running a certain amount of distance, which will take it as x, and in the same amount of time A is running 4x. So 4x plus x is equal to 1 round is the condition for first meeting. Basically, sigma d instead of delta is equal to 1 r is what you need to understand. This is where all of your results are coming from. So that's basically 5x is equal to 1 round, x is equal to 1/5 of a round. So that's what B is doing, 1/5, and A is doing 4/5. B is doing 1/5, A is doing 4/5. Clearly together they're doing 1 round and they will meet for the first time. So this is my starting point. This is my first meeting, from which point you can extrapolate second, third, fourth, and fifth. After which point it'll repeat 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th. So if somebody is asking you for the 103rd meeting, it's going to be the same point as the third meeting itself, and it's going to take 103 times the amount of time it took for the first meeting. So all of this is extrapolation after the first meeting's position and timer figured out. That's how it works. This is the condition that we start with, and this is the result that we get. The speed ratio given was 4:1. 4 plus 1 is equal to 5 meeting points there. They're equally spaced. The last or the fifth is back at the starting point. The fact that you get back to the starting point is why the meeting points get repeated afterwards. The reason why the sixth and the first are in the same position. So this much directly predictable from looking at the ratio. If it is not coprime numbers, make it coprime by taking out common elements, then you can simply add it up. That many unique meeting points are there, they're equally spaced across the circumference, and the last one is back at the starting point. But the order itself, just like we saw with the case of same direction, could change. So we saw a 4:1 example. Let's also look at a 3:2 example. You have A who is faster and speed is 3 meter per second, B whose speed is 2 meter. It doesn't matter, just the ratio matters. 3:2 ratio. What happens is 2x plus 3x. 2x and 3x are distances traveled in the same amount of time. So 2x plus 3x should be 1 round for the first meeting. Now if you want, you can directly write NR for the nth meeting, but it's always just simpler to, when you're deriving, let's figure out what the first meeting looks like and then extrapolate from that point. So here 5x is equal to 1 round. Till this point the solution is looking the same as last time, but that's where it diverges. B is 2/3 of a round and A is 2/5 of a round, and A is 3/5 of a round. And this is what that looks like. B does 2/3. Is that correct? Somewhere around here. B does 2/5, and A does 3/5. That's your first meeting. This is your starting. This is your first meeting. Second meeting, another 2/5. Third, fourth, fifth. It looks like a star pattern. You're trying to draw a star. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But again, it's only the order that looks different from last time. The rest is the same. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5 meeting points, equally spaced. Fifth is back at the start. All of this, none of this changes. The only thing that changes is the order. Order is different compared to last time. So that's basically how this thing works out. Next we'll see how to use all of these insights in an actual question.